Hello, D-Rock here. Welcome to the channel. Returning to the Mojave Desert, I wanted to search for new, to me, rock art. I figured I'd start at a fairly known spot and work the rock formations heading to the north. What's fascinating about this area is the possibility of different cultures from different time periods. This area is the ancestral lands of the Paiute. However, this area is also almost the western boundary for the Ancestral Puebloans. Encountering rock art in the area could be from both cultures. As is sometimes common, later rock art will be found in the same places as earlier rock art. Even though the time periods are different, people's choices in location are the same. So join me as I head out into the desert to discover what once was. Buenos dias. Well, we are out here in the Mojave Desert and we are searching for some rock art today. This is a fairly well-known area. It's remote, there's no doubt about that. But I'm sure there's things out here that haven't been seen too often. And right now I'm at I've parked just on the opposite side of this sandstone formation here, way back here, and there's a fantastic panel of petroglyphs way up here. So to get up there, I can't actually access this anymore. This is washed out or eroded away to where accessing it without, say, a ladder is just not happening. But there are some very interesting petroglyphs up on the desert varnish here and on this side here. I'm going to use a different camera to go in and get some close-ups so we can get a better visual of it, but there's a beautiful spiral up there, and I'm curious about who possibly made these petroglyphs. So this is Southern Paiute land, ancestral. However, it's also almost the western boundary of a little farther back, say the Ancestral Puebloans. So anyone from those cultures could have made these petroglyphs. They are old. There's no doubt about that. They've darkened considerably, so they've been around for quite some time. But it's got some really interesting imagery in there. So I'm gonna switch to a different camera. We're gonna do some close-ups real quick. Okay, so high up on this sandstone outcropping is a fantastic panel here. So I'm gonna slowly pan over this, and you're welcome to stop the video to study this at any moment because there's a lot going on here. And a lot of times you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. You know, if you've seen enough of these, you start making things out. But sometimes it doesn't come until later, until like, you know, you're just pondering over it. But there's a lot going on here. It's just a pretty interesting story. I'm not going to try and interpret it. You know, it's anyone's guess, really. But there's some really fantastic imagery going on. Zoomorphic, anthropomorphic. I'm going to zoom in on this one image. This almost looks like someone running right there, straight ahead, you know? I mean, you can imagine that. It can be completely wrong. And then the image to the right of the figure that may be running, maybe not, that's a See the horns on the head there? That's pretty common. Pretty common symbol. It's got some concentric circles at the bottom there. Lots of animals. Yeah, this is fascinating stuff. Here's another small panel. This is old stuff here. It's kind of sloped, so it's hard to get a good angle on it. But that's really interesting right there. And a lot of it's, got something right there, it's almost weathered away. Yeah, really cool. And we're just underneath that big panel now having a look, but I wanted to highlight a beautiful spiral right here. Yeah, that's great. I'm thinking this stuff's pretty old. Looks like pieces of it broken off up there. So this might very well date back to Ancestral Puebloan. Could very well. Fascinating. So this sandstone outcropping extends for quite a ways, and I'm not 100% sure, but somewhat certain that there could possibly be more petroglyphs that are kind of off this main section of track here that maybe most people don't see because they don't spend the time to go out and explore. So I think that's what we're going to do right now, is we're just going to get out and really examine this section of land and see if we come across any other rock art. I mean, you'd think there'd be more. Sometimes there isn't, sometimes there is. That's just, you know, going out and having a look, which, as I explained in most of the videos, is just a complete time suck. So, so we're gonna give it a shot and see if we find anything new out here. Still nice and cool in early November, so it's gonna warm up out here. So we still have to be, take into consideration the possibility of snakes. However, one other thing to take into consideration, did you look down at my feet here? This is all, I'm under the impression, burrow poop. And there's wild burrows all over this area. And I think they can have a temper. So I give them a wide berth, and I have no doubt they'll stomp the crap out of my dog if she gets near one. So we gotta keep that in mind. All right, I didn't have to go far. I just put my head up and you can barely make out, sorry for the camera shadow, right here where my finger's at is an almost completely faded anthropomorphic figure. That's a human-like figure. That's repatinaed, and it's barely legible, to be honest with you. So kind of gives you a context of where this is at. This is fascinating. So that's old. That's really old. Then again, it is sandstone, and sandstone weathers probably a lot faster than, say, granite. But it is repatinaed, redarkened, so it's very possible it could be over 1,000 years old. It's just my own speculation. I could be completely wrong there, but it's fascinating nonetheless. So why right here would there be an anthropomorphic figure, human-like figure? What does that mean? What do you think that means? So if you're coming through this area and you saw that, would that possibly tell you that there's people here nearby? Can't say for certain. But it's interesting to think about. All right, so we're gonna go slow and take our time. I don't want to miss anything. And sometimes these things are so old, so faded, you could walk right by them and not even know they were there. So, and sometimes they're on the completely underside, underneath things. It's just so random at times that it's hard to come up with any idea of what the purpose of it was. once again, I come across this symbol. This is so old. I have to catch an angle to see this, but if you've been following this channel for any amount of time, I regularly come across one symbol in particular that I believe just dates back probably to the Archaic period, maybe late Archaic period. I can't say for certain. It's just whenever I see this symbol, it's obviously very, very old. But here it is. I don't know if the camera's picking it up too well right here. Actually, I'm going to switch to a different camera just to give you a close-up of this. It's basically the vertical lines, and that's it. That's the symbol. It's very simple. However, its meaning, I have no idea, but I see it everywhere. Utah, Arizona, Nevada. So its symbol was important. It was important enough to travel all over these states at that time period. And I don't know. So let's go in for a quick close-up. Just to give you a context of where this is, I'll start there and there. You can make it out right there. It's the vertical lines. There may be a bar. It looks like there's a bar above them. Yeah, that's them. Just a number of straight vertical lines. That's the symbol. I see the same symbol, you know, across, like I mentioned, Nevada, Utah, Arizona. It goes back a long, long time. No doubt. People hung out in here. Let's just have a look at the ground. Yep. See. Huh, look at this. Nice flat rock here. That rock doesn't belong in here. And you've got lithic material. So naturally people would have been in here. Obviously it has it's a good shelter. Wind, sun, you know, name it. Just be a comfortable place to pass a night. Yeah. I'm sure, wow. Whoa. I'm like sinking down. This thing's filled with sand. It might have been a lot deeper at one point. Fantastic. Check this out while I'm in here. Finding these stones. These are river rocks. They definitely don't belong up in here. And there's a few of them. Huh. Yep. Very interesting. So once again, just like the limestone rock formations, the sandstone also has a tendency to have, you know, lots of ledges, shallow caves, things like this that could be utilized for shelter. So we'll have a look into these as well, because a lot of times you'll find lithic material, maybe even an artifact, you never know, in places like that. So I'm just in front of this kind of shallow shelter here, and very surprisingly, hi, yep, come on, get out of here. I found pottery. That's right. That right there is pottery. There even appears to be a painted piece right here. How fantastic is that? And there's more pottery right here. Yep. That is excellent. Stick your head here. Look at the ceiling of this shelter. Black from fires. How cool. There's charcoal all in here. Yeah, man, people are all in these rocks. I had a good feeling about this wall, and there is some ancient rock art on this wall. Whoa. Whew, man. Wow. All right, well, I'm gonna go over this slowly. It's old stuff. Some of it's almost completely weathered away, exfoliated. There's some really interesting symbols. We get, of course, the vertical lines, lots of them, and some other really, really interesting imagery. So hang on. Let's have a look. I had a feeling this big wall might have something on it. Some very interesting, simple designs here. Some zoomorphic, a couple anthropomorphic, and then just a lot of just really simple things that whose meaning is more than likely lost. I'm not sure, but this one is really interesting. They took their time and carved out around that bump in the wall there. That little knob. I mean, it's fantastic. Some of this seems like it may be a little fresher than others. So for example, come up to this, you can see this has repatinaed, it's re-darkened. Some of the other ones, like for example, this here, it's all repatinaed. It's re-darkened, it's old stuff. Some of it seems to be a little fresher, but I could be wrong. For example, like over here, that there, you can see the difference in coloring. versus some of this to the right of it here. So people would have come through this area, I mean, just over time, different cultures put their marks on it. So it may be from different cultures, different time periods. Regardless, it's all quite fascinating, to me anyway. Oh yeah, here's some anthropomorphic figures here. Wow, yeah. How awesome. There's stuff here. Where are my fingers? I'm not touching this, by the way. Being very careful where I walk, but this is almost completely exfoliated away, weathered away. So this whole area was probably, I'm sure there's probably a lot more. Yeah. So this looks a little fresher, and then to the left of it, you can see there's redarkened carvings here. So, you know, someone came through, made their marks here, and then hundreds of years later or something, someone else came through and added their symbols, their images, or thousands of years, you know, between art. Yeah, it's incredible. That's actually pretty fresh burrow droppings. Surprised I haven't heard them. All right, well, the truck is somewhere way out there. So it's been an absolutely amazing day. We found lots of cool stuff, lots of rock art. Maybe we found some pottery, man. You know how rare that is out here? Yeah, that's a good one. So I think we're gonna wrap it, head back to the truck, got a long drive out of here. There you have it. Fantastic day exploring in the Mojave Desert. We found some really, really cool stuff. As always, folks, thank you very much for watching. I have lots more content on the way. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It is free and it helps the channel tremendously. We'll see you next time. D-Rock out. Adios.